Black powder is by modern standards, a primitive explosive, and it builds up a lot of grime very fast inside a gun barrel. If the ball was tight-fitting in a musket, after the second or third shot, those British soldiers couldn't get a ball down the barrel anymore. Now in our front, we're seeing British light infantry advancing. You'll notice they have green plumes. In the British way of doing things, that's a designator. That tells people on the battlefield, these men are light infantry. They are smaller men, they are fast-moving and intelligent men, and they serve to protect the flank of the British regulars. They are specialized troops, and the innovation of light troops comes about as a direct result of British military experience in the French and Indian War. Well, how and why is that? It's a new concept in British infantry tactics. Meanwhile, you see the infantry representing the Culpeper Minute Battalion, armed with their long rifles, are firing at the light infantry. And you can see others of the Virginia military organization advancing on the field. They're largely armed with a smoothbore musket the same way as the British troops are. So that's a better one-to-one match. One of the assets that the British had under Lord Dunmore here in the Tidewater in the Mississippi in 1775 was they had Royal Navy assets. There were a couple of small warships that were in the harbor at Norfolk. Warships carried cannons. Those cannons could be offloaded and they could be placed on land and become an artillery asset. And that happened here. The Royal Navy detachment that was available to Dunmore was able to unload some ordnance that military men call artillery and use that in this campaign. At this point in time, militia and some volunteers up from North Carolina were here armed with what they had, but they had no artillery. There was a promise from North Carolina that an artillery train was going to come up to help support Colonel William Woodford commanding this little army of Virginians and North Carolinians, but that artillery hadn't arrived yet. Why in the world did these men, except for the light infantry, why did these men fight in these lines like this, shoulder to shoulder? And the answer is, it's complicated. This is a result of the evolution of military tactics out there. Now you've heard the bugles. You're not hearing from the light troops fifes and drums. That's because of the quick-moving nature of the light infantry. It's much easier to move around a battlefield quicker with a bugle as a signaling device than it is fifes and drums. That's the province, that's the field music of the regular line infantry. And both the British regular infantry troops and the Virginia and North Carolina troops would have had fifes and drums to beat out commands and further amplify and echo the commands that the officers give the men to advance, to retreat, to wheel, to load, to fire, to reload. The field music does that as well.